Dharma Jimden the Shen Shaban Rajama Yanda. Zobe Sanje Ribada Shazon Demba Devarisha. Jidin Jemba Jibun Deva Kano Jiva Laname. Tada Menam Demba Sanje Jimden. Bejawa Shaja Tubala Chasen or Chuda Jazucha. Dharma Jimden the Shen Shaban Rajama Yanda. Zobe Sanje Ribada Shazon Demba Devarisha. Jidin Jemba Jibun Deva Kano Jiva Laname. 타다 맨난제 뭐 산제 좀 된데 배경 샤자도 봐. 차전로 저도 잡을 생각도 뭐 좀 된데 시시 먼저죠. 양도 반조배 산제를 받아서던데 뭐데 벌써 뭔지 되죠. 기본적으로 가로 저만나 매와 하다 맨난제 산제 좀 된데 배경 샤자도 뭐 샤죠. 저도 잡을 생각 간제 간제 조어자도면서 산제는 만년지 된데는 조제송한 대세 개발중 장하세 남다 공과저도 소상과 이시자도 세계 정보자 자원제도 som나마 공부 전에 전화 자한테는 천전된 맞으면 선동 자원전화 자한테는 되전화서 봤으면 냐면 전전전화 자한테는 공부 투지체는 투지 전반도 소놈이 내자도 전디신샤마 자한테는 답변도 Giving on the Jidu, the Nomisho was in your turn. Trinidad, Mabata, the Chinga, Indiana Charles, and the watching and the judging Kawapus also. I don't get the names of the dinners and yet them when you come out of him, you must have a Melon, the agenda of the Jason, the Dada, Solomon, the coordinating rather than got on the Chira. To
the teacher, the blessed one
gone beyond,
the full destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and good conduct, Sugata, no other word, supreme guide of beings to be king, teacher of gods and humans, to you the completely and fully awakened one, the blessed one, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the shattered clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and call for refuge. To the teacher, the blessed one, the one gone beyond, the full destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, no other word, supreme guide of beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, to you the completely and fully awakened one, the blessed one, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the shattered clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and call for refuge. To the teacher, the blessed one, the one gone beyond, the full destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, no other word, supreme guide of beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, to you the completely and fully awakened one, the blessed one, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the shattered clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and call for refuge. When supreme among humans, you are born on this earth, you placed our seven strides, then said, I am supreme in this world. To you who are wise, then I prostrate. With the pure body's form supremely pure, wisdom ocean like golden mountain, fame that blazes in the three worlds, winner of the best, to you I prostrate. With the spring signs, face like spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. You are immaculate, the three worlds are not. Incomparably wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, teacher having all understanding, the field of net with qualities like a vast ocean, to you the one gone to dustness I prostrate. The purity which makes one free from attachment, the virtue which frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime pure reality, to that Dharma which pacifies I prostrate. Those who are liberated and also show the path to liberation, the holy field qualified utilizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts, to you the sublime community thinking virtue I prostrate. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions, perform only perfect virtuous actions, subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, mirage, a flame of a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or bubble, a dream of flash of lightning or cloud, see conditioned things as such. Through these merits may sentient beings attain rank of all seeing, subdue the four faults, and be delivered from motion of suffering, of aging, sickness, and death.
Sanje Jano Zoje Jano Chanju Pato Dane Jazuji and Dage Jazuji Beson. Dola Benja Sanje Jobajo, Sanje Jano Zoje Jano. Chanju Pato Dane Jazuji and Dage Jazuji Beson. Dola Benja Sanje Jobajo, Sanje Jano Zoje Jano. Chanju Pato Dane Jazuji and Dage Jazuji Beson. Dola Benja Sanje Jobajo, Sanje Jano Zoje Jano. Chanju Pato Dane Jazuji. Dage Jazuji Beson and Dola Benja Sanje Jobajo.
They go for refuge and enlightenment to the Buddha, the Dharma, and Sangha. Through the merit I create by practicing giving and the other perfections, may I quickly attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge and enlightenment to the Buddha, the Dharma, and Sangha. Through the merit I create by practicing giving and the other perfections, may I quickly attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge and enlightenment to the Buddha, the Dharma, and Sangha. Through the merit I create by practicing giving and the other perfections, may I quickly attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings.
Sanje Jumden so on the Shinshaba, Sonanda, Jutuman, Sivera de Jamazon, Jetaran, Jay, Bejas and Bonnet, Chanon Jimado, but you are about Matona, Tevema Vana Momarga, Sheriff Sigim, Tomna, Simjatum Jitama, Sanjus and Banam Jayava, Pabak, Azana Jay, and they were trying to drop on the Jabado Meva Bovas and Jimmy, Swana Brother, Yanni, Kuja, the Bichon. Kutsumba Mebande, Vatagama, Suda, Sume Batata, Pumbadana number two, Kananda, Medema, Jana Manda, Vanation, the Joba, Sivala Juvachu, and give a Yijan, Devada Majumba, the Jumba, Sanjay Jumba, Yanana Devala Medeva Yana, Vanija, the Bessim Yatam, Zibesala. The Dania Sanjay Jumba, the Jobuchi, the Yana, one number of the vision of the Manga, Sundra Samoma, the Vayozo, the Vayozo, Chawaya, the Demi, the Tona, the Yavakivan, just as the Rangaji, the Generation, the one and the Manja. Zobe Sanju, don't know what you want me to do, but me to do what the Mayu, what you want, what you get. Leverage what you got, too much, but too much of it, you were such a visit. No son of the pages, you don't want to be Benzo, you were Kondo, and Jibenzo, you were Chembo. Kangia to the Yazuna Dawa, such a baby, and vision that the Kodam Charts. Stanzas number 54. Number 54 says, My Lord, the Buddha taught close mindfulness of the body as the single path to trade. So hold fast and guard it well, for all the Dharma is destroyed by loss of mindfulness. So now today is stanzas number 54 is talking about mindfulness, the body. So at the same time saying this, with this body you can, achieve liberation or the enlightenment. Therefore, guard it well, means take care of the body, and then the durations of having this body is also very important, very significant So not to waste it. So because with this body you can achieve the liberation, enlightenment. So don't waste the time, take care of the body. And then how do you really, with this body, you're within this body or with this body. So what kind of path, you can choose, to pursue the liberation of the enlightenment. And the first he taught mindfulness of the body. So mindfulness of the body. So mindfulness in Tibetan, Lu Tenpa Nyapa Shava. Lu is the body. Tenpa Nyapa Shava means placing your mind closer, closer to, to the body. So then, I think this kind of meditations, there's many ways to meditate mindfulness of the body. And one beginning, so for the beginner, for meditations, there's two kind of state of mind. One that is easily get distracted. One that mind is constantly or more often, disturbed by attachment. So the individual who has more attachment, so then this is do the meditations on the skeleton meditations. The skeleton meditations is, focused on your forehead, and in imaginations, you just pinch one flesh from the forehead and see the bone, the color of the bone, the white. So the tiny in the forehead, and try to remain in the mind, focus on that, tiny white colored bone. So then you can, expand that, expand that object, and then whole head, is the skeleton, like bone, and then half of the body is bone, and then full of the body is bone, and then you are surrounded by all kinds of human beings and animals. So all are, in the form of the skeleton. And then you expand again until it reaches the oceans. And everything, everywhere is just, everywhere is the skeleton. And then you just come back, from the ocean to your body, and half of your body is skeletons. And then again go back unto the oceans and come back, and then upper part, the skeletons, and then the head. Then again you go back to the oceans, and then come back. So this is kind of like a method or instructions how to meditate or mindfulness in order for reduce or the loosen up the intensity of the attachment in the mind. So a main thing is now in the forehead is the skeletons. So continuously doing that and seeing everywhere is a skeleton. And this is for the one who want to start mindfulness, the meditation, but still there's obstacles because mind is constantly, bothered by the attachment. And another one is the one who is easily get distracted, therefore having hard time to do the meditations. And then this is focus on the breathing and counting the breathing 1 to 10 and 10 back to 1. So some breathing meditation says no need to count. Maybe for the beginning, as a new, maybe counting is good. And then you just let it kind of, let go of counting the number of the breath, inhale and exhale. Just simply focus, watch how your breath is going out and then comes in. Just remain with that, inhale and exhale. And so this is how you kind of, train your mind to do the meditations. So this is not the actual meditations. And then mindfulness, the body means now you try to see your body, very closely. So there's a two, mindfulness, the bodies, and then so there's another one that, usually in the Mahayana practice, the mindfulness of the body is first see the impermanence of the body. So impermanence of the body means impermanence of every changes in the body and the changes in the, changes means in what condition the body changes. With air, with space, with heat, with moistures, and the solidities. And in each of those, the breath and the breath, the air and the space and the heat and water and the solidities. So then see each of the elements. The elements are, elements between them. They are kind of, what was that? They are enemy, heat and the wind and the wind and the fire and water and the heat and the water, they're opposite. So within these elements that is, constantly, opposing each other, so that's that's the kind of the foundation of your lifespan. So it said your life is impermanent because it's very much, depending on its life is rise, from the combination of the four elements or the five elements. So there is no possible or remain permanent because the heat and the water, cannot stay too long or forever. It is impossible. So you just kind of bring your mind closer to the air comes in and out, and the second, and then the space is allowing the air comes in and out, and then because of the air that comes constantly breathing in and out, and it produces the heat. From the heat, there's the moisture. From the moistures, there is some kind of solidity feeling, So, and then you just keep contemplating on that. If you when you see there's some kind of distractions started, and then suddenly you just shift the focus on the breathing again. And then just remain with the breathing in and out, in and out, in and out. And then mind a little bit settled. And then shift the change again back to the air, space, heat, moistures, and then the solidity. And then just remain in that and see, why it is impermanent. How it is impermanent. And then while you are doing this meditation, mindfulness of the body, and then after the mindfulness of the body, and then you can also exercise this body is consists of the four elements. So this, grows kind of, it arises from the element and dissolves back to the elements. There is no me. There is no me. There is this is not me, or there is not me too. And second, there's the me who as a owner of this body. There is no body that is, as a possession to me or to the self of the person. So this is not me. There is no me at all, which means this body is devoid of self. Self never dwells in the body. So that, so within this kind of meditation is added in the mindfulness of the body. And again, when you think about the air comes in and out, therefore there's the heat. There, because of the heat, there's the moisture. Because of the moisture, there's the, the solidities. With this whole together, there's a sense faculty. There's the eye sense power. There's air sense power, nose sense power, tongue sense power, body sense powers. So, and then through this through sense faculties, it translates or they construct this color to see, sound to hear, smell and taste, and the textures or the tactilities is all constructed or created, through these sense faculties. Some may say the brain is in the translating or the constructing, but it's too far. Brain is up there in the dark. So here the eye sense power, air sense power, nose sense power. These are the faculties that is, when you contact with the outside element or the derivative of the elements, contact, it construct and, form, sound, smell, taste, and textures. And then the flavor of each object is also contributed by your thought and your emotions. So this is the mindfulness of the body. So now saying that hold fast and guard it well, for all Dharma is destroyed by loss of the mindfulness. So now all the negative action that, negative actions, the unwholesome deeds and negative thoughts is, negative thoughts is allowed or generated or developed through losing the mindfulness. Losing the mindfulness means you are not knowing the impermanence. You are not knowing that this body is absence of self. So if someone who understands this is impermanent and this is the devoid of self, is impermanence, that every changes in this body is conditioned by, afflictive emotion delusions, particular attachment, and the habit of karma from the past. So this is just, mere heap of conditional suffering. This is just mere heap of conditional suffering. This is the, whole box that is, designed and appropriated through, emotions and the elements. There is no self. Mere means what is negating. There is no self. There is no self which is
independently, apart from the body and as a possessor of the body. There is no such self there. There's no such person. There's no such me there. So when someone who is mindful with this impermanence and empty self, and so definitely this kind of understanding of the knowledge can be powerful prevention of the negative emotions. So this is why Nagarjuna says, all the dharmas destroyed by loss of mindfulness. Loss of mindfulness, yeah. So sometimes you analyze, so when you see there's just the moistures, there's just the heat, they just keep air comes in and out, right? And then the flesh and bones and the bloods and skins, right? This is not me. There is no me. When kind of so if someone who is doing this, quite often doing meditations, and then there's some method that says, when you think, meditate this for maybe morning and maybe afternoon or night. And sometime when you do the meditations, and then after the post meditations, while you are cooking or while you are doing something, and some master says that sometimes you have to call your name, hey, Tenzi Shara. And then you just think, who called it? To whom is calling? So that it kind of triggers the whole, kind of, the analytical thinking. So this is suppose that, in our mind, we think that if someone calls, and there must be the agent who calls it, and someone who listens, and there is the agent who listens, and he has active activity of listening. If you call yourself, so is there any agent as a call, someone who called your name, and activity of calling you, and you, the other person's agent as a listener, or one who have the activity of listening? Is it two different things, or there is only listeners? There is no agent apart from the listeners. So if there is no agent, is one who make the kind of calling your name apart from the listener itself, and then what is the agent of that calling your name? So mindfulness, the body is like that. So mindfulness, the body understands each elements in the body, and about the element, we says element. Yeah, sometimes we say the element. Element means the water, the heats, the moistures in the elements, and then these elements are also, the already functioning under the force of your karma and your attachment. So therefore, these are already no longer pure element. These are the derivative of the element. These are just born with the condition of karma and afflictions. It is, when it dies, when it dissolves, it dissolves back to the element, not to consciousness. They're just so simply it's temporarily employing your karma and afflictive emotion, your emotions. So, and then there is another, how to say, in the sutra, Buddha Shakyamuni's, once he taught this kind of meditation, mindfulness, the meditation to his son, the Rahu. And Buddha says, do you see the difference, the air that comes in and out, comes in your body and goes out from the body? Is it different, or it is different from the air that is flowing and outside? So he said that there's no different. They are in one nature. It's just, air that breathe in, you says, I'm breathing the air. Air goes out, and then, it disappears or dissolves or become one, inseparable with the air outside of the body. And then it says the heat, the fires, the heats, it is different from the outside heat or not. And then, no, there is no moistures of the water, the liquidities, that also no different from, no different means this is just one part of the liquidity, and outside the moistures, they have no sense of knowing anything. So each of your elements in your body has no sense of knowing, no sense of experiencing. Outside elements is also like that. So why there is self of the person, so there is, there is no kind of, there is no driver inside the body. It's just mechanisms of the elements that functioning, So this is why there is no self. There is no person in your skin, on your skin, or attached to the skin. There is no yourself of the person within, with your kind of flesh and bones and bloods, the heats. Everything is totally devoid of self of the person. It's not at all. So this is why I say this is just mere heap of conditional suffering. So the mere heap of conditional sufferings, so as I mentioned earlier, the mere negates, there is no self. There is no self outside who owns this. There is no self in it. There is no self outside who owns this, who possesses this body. So until, you just meditate meditate again and again, mindfulness the body, then it will convince the mind that, the self or the person or I am is conceptually, constructed entity. Other than that, it is never being substantial. It is never exists in and of itself. It's just projected, fabricated, constructed by language and the thought. Language means, through the letters is constructed. And where it constructed? In your mind. So in your mind, the particular mind, not the I conscious, not the A conscious, to the thought. You thought there is me, because there is the feeling, there is the heat, there is the cold, there is the delicious, there is a smell, or I am. So it is the thought which is constantly, projecting and making it sure it exists, exists to your mind. So in this school, now the self or I am is conceptually constructed and projected, imposes through the letters and the languages. Other than that, there is no self of the person. Therefore, this aggregate is mere heap of conditioned suffering. So, and then,
so mind is constantly projecting these thoughts into our minds. Its mechanism and all the breathing and bodily mechanism, both are all driven by afflictions and karma.
yes, yeah, they are driven by, or it is employing to the karma and afflictive emotions. They're just simply working temporarily, without salary. So there's no me. How can it give the salary to my air, my space, my heat, my moistures? So it's the my means, that me who owns this, who have this, that me is nothing but mental projections, nothing but creations constructed through the letters and languages. This is what kind of, Nagarjuna is very convincingly constituted that entities are, it is single unit. That single unit is not by themselves as a single unit. It is single unit identified in a single unit by the thought and the languages. So that's why, every entity is existing with relation to language, with relation to thought and concept. So now this whole kind of idea of the mindfulness is to preserve the positivities through the body and speech and mind. When your mind is mindful or steady, unmistakably knowing the reality, and that knowledge will guide your thought, your speech, your actions. So right now, very often, so our actions, our body, speech, body, speech, mind's actions are driven by our emotional, sometimes anger, sometimes attachment. Now we have to let this, guide by the understandings of the impermanence, understanding of the conditioned suffering, understanding of no intrinsic self. So, number 54, this "O Lord" means now my Lord, or "Wangju Sometimes it's a mighty, person or something like that, calling to his friend as a king, or my Lord, my Lord. The Buddha taught close mindfulness of the body as the single path to tread, to hold fast. Dim, so hold fast means, mindful, guard it well, make it useful for all, make it useful. Otherwise, all Dharma is destroyed by loss of the mindfulness. So your positivities can be lost, can be destroyed by the loss of mindfulness. So that's mindfulness, the body. So with all its many risks, with all its many risks, the risk of, risk for the life, or the possibility of, the possibility of the death. There's many conditions. The death has many conditions. So this life endures no more than, windblown bubble in the stream. So this is also meditating, particularly meditating on the impermanence. So there's many cause and conditions for the death. So so the duration of the life, constantly, the hindered by, all these changes in the body. So changes in the body, it says, bubble in the stream. So the bubble in the stream is many bubbles. When the wind blows, the bubbles is popped, right? Popped up, popped out or popped up. So this maybe you can also contemplate, there's a story during the Buddha when he was in the meditations. Buddha says, so I have closely looked at each of the particles in the body, very closely, each of the particles, like every liquidity, every, pockets of the, elements, and particularly the waters, the drops of the waters. I closely look, all of them. So these bubbles in the particles, the second by second, they die and born. So that is your life. Life is, all the particles, the thousands, millions of particles, the born and die. So how much this body can produce? If the body, loses all potential to giving rise to these particles, the bubbles, molecules, then once the body will, exhaust to produce that. So this is also kind of, reminding yourself is a permanent. You are the permanent. You are the impermanent. Your life is impermanent. Your life base, the foundations, every particle is the impermanent. Every waters in the body is impermanent. Every heat in the body is impermanent. The air that keeps in and out is also impermanent. There is no certainty. Anytime it can stop. So this kind of, reflecting on this nature of elements in the body. So this gives you the understanding or the knowledge of the impermanence of the body. And then the knowledge of impermanent is also the fuel for seeking liberations. So it's not just happening in this life, it happened in previous life and their previous life and the thousands beginningless. And it continuously, same kind of history repeating in many, many lives in the future. So and then there is the possible to end this cycle of life. There is possible you can make this happen to end, reborn in a condition of suffering. So this is why when you, so then it says this, within this so many times, every minute and seconds, there's that death is always happening. And how marvelous to breathe in and out again. So how marvelous, So you're still breathing, you're still, living, within this death and birth, constant happening in the body. So to fall asleep and then awake, refreshed. So that is also something miracle, Not you did not, how's that? Die in the while you are sleeping. You just wake up and there's another life you will enjoy, and then use those life, this fragile life, the life which has so many obstacles, but you're still living in that life, and now if you use the lifespan or the duration of the life in negative way and constantly born again and again and face the negative consequences. If you use that very short life, in a positive way, and then continuously you will born in a very conducive life, right? And then if you gain the realization of emptiness and and be able to absorb in emptiness, and then you can find the end of reborn in second existence. So this precious, fragile life, and you have to use it in a positive way. So this is still it's part of the mindfulness of the body. So now this mindfulness of the body in general, and particularly impermanence, and then again, so more specific about the death. So number 56, this body ends as ashes, dry dust, or slime, right? And ultimately shit, no essence left. I think he Tamar Mizanimbo Mashibis. Sometimes it's like this body and eventually turn into ashes or the dust, or it's the rotten, or this body is most of the time we use this to make poop. So they say like, so now how do you want to use it? This looks like it has no, any meaningful, but so how can you use? Are you using this to attain the liberations, or are you using this body, with this body, you can continuously born again in a similar type of the body again. No essenceless, consumed by, life is consumed by, year, month is consumed by the days, day consumed by the hours, hour consumed by the minutes, minute consumed by seconds. There is no any event that you are not disintegrating. So every moment, every event, every month or every day or every hour, every minute. So there is always, non-stoppable and constant disintegrations. So this is also kind of pretty much giving you the picture of how it is uncertain the body is. So number of jigdens, consumed and evaporate. Rotted down, thus know its nature to disintegrate. So you should gain the, you should realize this body is, constantly, every second is disintegrating. And what you use that duration of that is, with anger, attachment, or with some kind of knowledge, the positivities, some kind of deep understanding of the ultimate realities. So still, now it's general mindfulness the body, and then particularly impermanence, and specifically focus on death and then it's again in against so with example, and again introducing the impermanence. So the 57th, the ground, Mount Mirror, and the ocean too will be consumed by the 7 blazing suns. Eventually, even those mountains, mountains, the big oceans will be dried up. All the mountains will be, turned into ashes. Of things with form, no ashes will be left. So no need to speak of, puny, fragile men. So if these big oceans and whole mountains will eventually turn into ashes and dried up, and why not this small body, this puny, small body and a fragile human being? All the houses, right? The houses, trees, mountains, even the ocean, finally it has to be dissolved in 5 elements. So then so conclusions now is it's all impermanent, devoid of self, devoid of self. There is no independent self. So if you are not to stay, there refugeless and helpless, drag your mind away. Helpless, this stop here. Is all impermanence, devoid of self. There is no independent self. Hypothetically, if there is soul, eternal yourself, so when this whole body, turn into ashes, you just remain, I don't know, in the space or wherever, just permanent remain. And you can also, anytime you can just, those jet pilot, they eject themselves, when the airplane has a problem, so they just free themselves and then just let the airplane fall into ground. So similarly, if there is independent self, so anytime you can just leave and say, I don't want this body, I wait for another body, So there is no such independent self. There is no permanent self apart from the body. And then, so all you are is, in the nature of the impermanence, in the nature of the derivative of the elements, internal derivative elements, outside of the body derivative elements, and it's a combining, constantly colliding, So that, constant disintegrations is the nature of yourself. And then while you are in that impermanence, constantly disintegrating and dying, are you going to live refugeless, helpless, or you want to, you can trust in something ultimate. You can, reveal some kind of reliable the worship object or refuge object like Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, or you can help yourself by gaining the knowledge, right? So you are not to say the refugeless and helpless. Then says, drag your mind away, O king, from plantain-like samsara. Plantain, right? Plantain-like samsara. So, which has no core. So then saying that, in these conditions, why not you think of, find liberations? Why not you think of, drag your mind away? Why you just, let your mind sink into this, negative condition. This is a refugeless, helpless condition. Why you let your mind sink into this? So why can pull your mind or lead your mind or guide the mind or convince the mind with positivity and with understanding of the realities. So this samsara is like a plantain-like samsara, because it's kind of, some people say plantain is a banana tree. So, banana tree is once the fruit has given and then the tree has to cut. Inside just water, there's nothing. So this samsara aggregate is like that. If you just look inside, there's nothing. There's all the lungs and the hearts and the intestines and then poops and, pees. Everything. There's nothing attractive, there's nothing. So there's nothing inside, so any essential, any, any good, any pure things in there, nothing. So it's a plantain-like samsara, which has no core. So this now whole stanzas of 54, 55, 56, 7, 8 is all part of mindfulness of the body. First mentioning generally the mindfulness, and the second, more particular, the impermanence, and within the impermanence specifically, it mentioned the death, and then setting the example. You are not only one who is disintegrating. Even the whole mountains, the oceans, they eventually, oceans were dried up, mountains turned into ashes. So why not this tiny, fragile body? So the mindfulness of the body. There's a full mindfulness of the body, mindfulness of the feeling, mindfulness of consciousness, mindfulness of phenomena or the phenomena. So mindfulness of the body is, as I mentioned earlier, understanding the nature of the whole body and their impermanence, and that the duration of the life, which is based on this, constantly consumed every minute and second and hours, is consumed. That duration is fragile. and death is certain. So that mind, this, yeah, and then there's this, so all based on those conditional and through the letters and the languages, you conceptually constructed I am. I am human being. I am male. I am a female. I am mother. I'm daughter. I'm a father. So I am is, you cannot find inside the body. You have to find, within the languages. The existing of myself as a human being is remain exist in the face of the languages and concept. So therefore, it is imputational factors. It is impositional factor. So number 59 is now Nagarjuna's is trying to explain how the human rebirth, human life is precious. So so the 59 says, the harder still, than that a turtle chances up on opening in the yolk upon a great and single sea and a single sea opening in the yolk. Yeah. So this is kind of is what do you call it? Metaphor, So there is the blind turtle in the oceans, has lived very long in the oceans. So some people say every 100 year, and the turtles comes out from the oceans. It just, heads up from the oceans. And then there is the yolk. There's a word called yolk, right? Yolk. Yolk is there's some kind of tire, the car tire floating on the oceans. When the turtle, how's that? Put his head, up from the ocean, and then he has to fit in the tire. So almost like that. It is rarely happen. So similarly, human rebirth is, it's not going to happen very often. So rarely you have the human life. Rebirth as a human, after rebirth as a beast. So there is, and many, the birds and the animals, insects, in many places, many kind of sentient beings, but human rebirths, and particularly the human with, who has who are conducive and have access to listening and contemplating and gaining knowledge. It is more rare. I heard this in Tibet, one of the Lama giving these teachings. Human rebirth is very precious, very rare. And then there was one Chinese guy listening to the teaching. He said, Lama, you didn't go to Beijing, So that's so Beijing is not a human being. No. So this kind of it's not just human, human form. Yeah. Yeah, human being is also like that, So human life is more precious. So heed the sacred Dharma. So now saying that you have this human rebirth, and this human rebirth is not often happening, it's rarely happen. Now use this human life or use, so there is a kind of, within the human life, you can gain the power, wealth, you can, do so much things, to gain fame in all of them, but it all will disappears, once life is ended. Now, something you can carry, something you can, carry to next life, or something you can make within this life to attain, to make possible of, liberations or enlightenment. So the heed the sacred Dharma. If you, now giving a choice, you wanted to be wealthy in this life, or famous in the life, or powerful in this life, or you want to find the path to liberation and enlightenment. So then be heedful. The rest of anything that you gain in this life will be left. There's nothing you can carry to next life. So if you do some kind of positive actions, positive karma, and planting the seed for the liberation and enlightenment, and for definitely you will, have the result. So heed the sacred dharmas, the king, and make your life bear fruit. So, try to, make lives more meaningful and plant the seed for the liberations. Then, even not in this life and next life, for sure. So you can attain liberations. So otherwise, now saying that if you don't use the human life in a positive way, or something reliable, something you can use it, benefit to you for not only this life, for many lives in the future, if you don't use it, then says, life is precious, but so most stupid, yet then one who throws some slope into golden vessel, be jeweled. So this is like, if you don't use it, the life is the precious, full of potential. But if you use a negative way, it's almost like you have a golden jeweled vessel, and you use it for, to put the trash, In India, in the old time, king, there's many kings, so they eat the, what called pan. So there's some kind of chewing, they chew and they spit. There's a vessel, and that is made out of gold and very jeweled, and they use it for spit. So this is like, if you don't use the human rebirth, human precious life, and waste it, it is almost like you have a golden jewel vessel, but you just use it for the spit, or to put the trash in it. Is he who gained the precious human birth and waste it in an evil and sinful life. So mindfulness, and then so the precious human rebirth, and then so then says, what is the conducive life? Conducive life. Here's the precious human rebirth with perfect conditions. So the perfect conditions is dwell in the place that benefit the task. Usually we call Kumajiva Nevas in the Vinaya text. So according to Vinaya text, so this means like if the monk, if the Buddhist monk who lives in a monastery or in a Dharma practice place, this says this is dwell in the place that benefits the task. Or you are practitioners, even the lay persons, and you live in the area, environment that is, the people around you has the same, same interest. So that is also dwell in place that benefit the task. So if you see somewhere, some holy places, everybody is doing some kind of positive things, then you are naturally do some kind of positive things. So you have to be in that place that benefits the task. And then you need the teacher who can guide you to show the path, to follow and rely on the holy beings. And the aspiring high, level members. Aspiring high means, here it means is you have, from many lives in the past, you have prayed, you have dedicated. So may I be born in that conducive human rebirth. So something, now you are in the result of that praying. Now you are in, place where, easily you can do the Dharma's practice, or surrounding you people, also, kind of, there's many examples, and the people also kind of, to facilitate, for you to continue to do the Dharma practice. And then you have, you have the teacher that you can listen, so with this, the Dharma teachings. And then not only that, and you have enough merit to gain knowledge, to gain, unmistakably understanding the teaching of the Buddha. So now this, which means is there's a possible you can dwell in the place that benefit the task, but you can lack the merit from the past. So you have a holy teachers, you have a teachers who can guide you, show the path, but you have no merit to gain knowledge. So this is also possible. So everything's together, we call, so here this is, these four great wills are these four great wills are yours for you to use. So in the Prajaparamita traditions, the four great wills is the place and the teachers and dedications from the past, accumulations, the merit, the four, so the great wills. So like a truck and a car driven on the four wheels. So you can easily move forward. You can easily gain liberation, enlightenment. In Tantrayana, they use the four great wills is, and the chakra in the forehead, and the throat, and the heart, and the navel. So there's four wills. Because there's a great benefit from opening each of the chakras. So each of the chakras, I think, the Jiva Dejen Holos, and the crown chakra is tied up by, I think 32 knots that is tied up that. By opening it, there's a great, revealing the, the truth of the realities. And then, the heart, the chakras is tied, it's kind of, tied up in the 8 knots. And Dimba, I think the throat chakra is binded by 16 or something, and then navel is 64. This. So this is the Chandra and the tantric terms. The four great wills is they interpret in a different way. In the Prajnaparamita Sutras, four great wills at the place that harmony and benefit to you, and you have teachers who can show the path to enlightenment and liberations, and you have enough dedications from the paths, you have enough accumulations, the merit, to digest the meaning of the teaching.
Yeshua, could you say something about whether in Tantra there's a specific practice to undo those knots? I mean, I know with Vajrasattva you can work on those, but is there some very kind of pointed practice to open up those chakras?
Yeah.
Maybe you have some advice.
I don't think there is the mouth activities to open the chakras, as the chakra is opened by the mind, from the wisdom. The wisdom and, concentrations, single-pointed concentrations, and the wisdom understanding emptiness work together, and the concentrations kind of makes the wisdom more powerful, more settled, and all the winds, energies, and instead of scattering, so all the energies, drives back to the main object. So the energy constantly drawing back inside and again, and then that opens the chakra. There is, I don't think just simply reciting Vajrasattva is, enough to open the chakra. It's the wisdom and the concentrations. So essentially what is needed to do is the wisdom realizing emptiness, and the concentrations, and there's some kind of physical changes within the center chakras. It's something that is all the energy, driving back to the center, and then center Navel is become wider, and then all energies goes through the center channel. So that's the. I think this is not just it's not like some kind of what you call drain system that you can do by from the external to open up the pipe. Is just it's the kind of the energy. Right now, the as the ordinary energy every day, every minute goes out. We produce energy and it goes out. So through this single-pointed meditations, concentrations, and the wisdom understanding the realities together, and energies, direct the energy, back to the center.
I wonder if you focus your concentration on those specific points and with some kind of visualization or use of color even, whether you could unlock those areas.
Yeah. Maybe there's a pill that we can order from the Amazon.
I'm not suggesting there's a pill, but maybe if you focus on the chakras themselves, there's something in the awareness and the arising of wisdom from that chakra that will allow you to undo the nadis.
Yeah, it seems like Tantra generally in the tantric practitioners, they have this kind of method or instructions to open the chakras, but there's two kind of two possibilities. One just simply trying to open the chakras, and another's through the path to enlightenment, the wisdom, and then with that, using that wisdom and as a tool to open the chakras. So generally, Tantrayana practitioners, even some non-Buddhists, simply through the concentrations and specific instructions, the pit instructions from their experienced masters, and they make sometime, it is not impossible. They can open chakras. They gain some kind of clairvoyance or some kind of unique, qualities, powerful knowledges, but still, because it lack of wisdom realizing emptiness, is not going to the path to enlightenment and liberations. So you may be, you can do something that prolong your life much longer than ordinary people, or you gain some kind of clairvoyance. You can tell the future of the peoples, or you can do some kind of, invoking the, so different kind of deities. By that, you can gain fame, you can gain power. So there's many things, but all these like physical possessions, they all, when you die, everything dissolves.
Yeah.
So usually, the breathing meditations, it's always the kind of it's the pathway for opening the chakra. And I heard that in non-Buddhist, kind of non-Buddhist. So Lord Shiva, there's some texts. I heard this mentioned that the breathing meditations, he says, when you focus on the breathing, and breathe in and out. And if you are very much familiar with these meditations, and you can catch, at the center, breathing in and out between them, what's very source of that. Once you catch it, and you can single-pointedly meditate on that without breathing. So that is also possible, this is, And then this instruction always says, try to catch the center, the source of breathing. So, and then this pretty much similar in the Buddhist Tantrayana, and then they says, try to, direct the energy, not letting it go out. Is just keep circling in the body, and it continues to doing that, and automatically all the energies will eventually goes to the center level. So Navel, something like that. So and then it opens that. So this is, Buddhist Tantrayana says the purpose of this doing meditation is just to open the channel. And maybe this is very much related to the Shiv text about the meditations. So Shiv says, catch the center. So there's very kind of, there's this, looks like it's less explanations, but it pointed out the what is the essence of the meditations. And the Buddhist Tantrayana is with method and instructions, the many ways to open the channels. Maybe this is during the Kadamba Adishas, during the Adisha in Tibet. So one of his best disciple Adishas, one of them is called Jegombawa. So he is specifically, master in the meditations. So there was the story that, he was the one who used these meditations, single-pointed meditate. And while he was in the meditations, there is no air, the breath coming in and out. So one time he was doing that, and his, students, the attendants, they think he died. He's dead. And then they start doing the 49 pujas, 49 day pujas. And then after 1 week, he just, come out for the meditations. He said, "What are you doing?" And they said, "We thought you were dead." So, because they checked that there's no breath coming in and out. And he said, I was just, my body is not really well, so I'm trying to balance the element. So I did the meditations. So maybe there's something here. This is only other people have. We don't have it. So, so dwell in the place, the benefit, the task, and follow the relying on the holy beings, the aspiring high. So Daniel Legmans, aspiring high, I don't know, this is really, shows the meaning of it. Remember means dedications from the past and accumulations of merit. So sometimes people have a serious interest in the Buddha Dharma, and particularly teaching of the dependent originations. They have a very serious interest. And, always there's some kind of hindrance, so not getting exactly what it means. So which means you have to accumulate enough merit to, to understand, to digest the meaning. So no accumulation merit. And it's very difficult. So merit is, again, and then say, what is that merit that could really understand the teaching of the different originations? Yeah? Or you have very sharp mind, very intelligent, and this is your mind intelligent with honesty, with with genuine interest. And then it is going to be the merit that allows you to digest the meaning of dependent originations. Sometimes we have intelligence, but our mind is always, always, trying against something. So trying to, have the habit of rebelling, or this is not mine, or this is yours, or this traditions. Always they have some kind of, ready to punch, So that is also not the honesty mind. Intelligence, honesties, and so we call less arrogance. So this kind of merit from the past, you have this, you have the some kind of familiarizations. You have some kind of the stream of that habit is still with your mind. And then you have intelligence, you have a right person to explain exactly, and then there is the understanding. So the four of them we call four great wills are yours for you to use. So yeah, now it mentioned mindfulness in general, impermanence, the death, and with examples. So impermanence of your body. And then, again, you kind of, again says, so impermanence means, this has end. The end is, uncertainty. There's no definite the time. You live in this much year or that much year, or you're not going to die. You're going to die in this year or that year. There's no certainty, and this impermanence of the life and uncertainty and death can be happen anytime. Now saying that, so how do you want to use this time? So you want to use to benefit to yourself, to planting the seed for the liberations, or you just use whatever the emotionals, direct you, or impose anything that you out of afflict the emotions. So then says this is the basis for their life is the basis for the human rebirth. That is the human rebirth, and the human rebirth is rare, particularly the conducive human rebirth is more rare than anything that's possible. And then the conducive means you live in a place that benefits your practice, that facilitates your practice, and you're relying on the teacher who can explain, and you have enough dedication from the past, and you have intelligence and honesties and keen the interest. So then that is the conducive life. So the virtuous friend in whom to place your trust has brought pure conduct to perfections. So now here is it kind of maybe is not a whole definition, but is the definitions of the teachers, and here is defined as whom to place your trust. Place your trust has brought pure conduct to the perfections. Who can, who can explain to you whole path to enlightenment and deliberations. Said the Lord, said the Buddha, said, so follow holy beings. Many are they who relied upon Buddhas and found peace. Too short line, So follow holy beings. There are many great masters in the past, great masters in the present, will be in the futures, or rely upon Buddha's teachings, and by practicing the gaining knowledge as it is, they found the peace. Many are in that state of permanent peace. Those arhats, Buddha and Bodhisattvas, all of them, so all of them has gained this permanent state of peace, permanent bliss of the peace through following the teaching of the Buddha. So you can too, if you understand the Buddha Dharmas, you follow the Buddha Dharma, practice it, understand unmistakably, and for sure, at the end, you will find the reliable, sustainable, permanent state of peace. So number 63 is saying that you are very good, fortunate rebirth because you are not in, you are not fall in the wrong view, wrong believing, or you are not born in animals, you are not born in hungry ghosts, you are not born in hell realms, you are not born in a place that you cannot listen or have no access to the Buddha Dharma. So you are not born in the, like, what we call barbarian, right? You are not, mentally ill. You are not muted. So therefore, now you have everything. So Nagarjuna says, why not? You start, meditate, meditate in mindfulness, the body, and try to understand it, the teaching of the Japan originations. So to be born with the false belief, yet as animals, or pretas, yada, yada is hungry ghosts, in hell, deprived of the Buddha's word. So you are not in the place, there is no, there is no Buddha Dharmas. Barbarians in the borderland, no sure it's Mexican mainland. Yuthagopsikul, is something that is, people, some group of people or tribe live in the isolate. So they never let other people to get in. They do not across their land. So that's called, Lalo. It's kind of barbarians. So reborn, dull, and the dumb. Sometimes the dumb we can, for the dumb we can, by giving them lessons they can become intelligent. So dumb and dumb is two different things. Dumb, they don't think. The first dumb is think. They make them dumb, right? So, so that's it. Now you have, your whole, you have this, powerful, potential mind and potential time, potential life, and you are physically live in a very conducive area. Now, why not? You just, find, or you just go on meditations. I think this is important. And Dharma means something that keeps you or holds you from the negative consequences. Dharma means understanding of physical activities, positive actions, speech, positive actions, or mentally positive thinking, or understanding, dependent originations. These can keep you from falling in the negative consequences. So therefore, it is Dharma. It keeps you, it keeps you from negative consequences. Therefore, it is Dharma. So Dharma means, again, is the positive transformations, is a Dharma. So I think, mentioned that many times, like Dharma, practicing Dharma means that Dharma is supposed to protect you or keep you from, suffering. And then I go for refuge to the Dharma means that Dharma that you take refuge is, you want to attain, you want to, be in that state of permanent state of peace. So you're paying homage or taking refuge to the state of permanent state of peace, or you're taking refuge to the quality that is, is the cessation of cause of suffering. So then another Dharma is like you call Sarva Dharma, all the Dharmas, which that Dharma means everything is Dharma. And what is that means? What is there is everything has some kind of holding, and everything is holding their identity. Positive holding its own identity, negative holding its own identity. Water is holding its own identity. Fire is holding its own identity. Wind is holding its own identity. So there's something that has its own nature, its own function, its own identity. So it's a Sarva Dharma. Sarva Dharma. So then this is, the water and the fire and the wind and table and the cow and everything, that identity, who gave that identity, who has identified it, by themselves or someone else identified and designate identity. So then that means the water, four elements is identity of the four elements is given by through the letters and the languages, not by water themselves, not by fire themselves. So that is the identity is something designated through the letters and the languages. That called whole Sarva Dharma, all the Dharma. So Dhara is holding, there's many ways to hold. Holding its own identity, in that case, is the Dharma. And Dharma holding the individual, the person, from negative consequences. This is what we call, I'm practicing Dharma. So far, there's in the Sanskrit to the Tibetan, because the Sanskrit word itself is very confusing. It is not clear. So when it translates in Tibetan says "che," and then from the letters, explicitly from the letters, what is actually indicating is positive transformations. This is much we, the Tibetan translator has translated. So this is why in English, so far, there is no translation of Dharma. So we always say Dharma, Dharma, Dharma. So che in Tibetan is the past tense of cheba. Cheba means you are changing, you're conditioning. Something that is already conditioned, change. So that, keeping that kind of meaning in the mind, the Tibetan translator says, now we are going to call it che. Because from the word itself in the Sanskrit, because there is, it is not really, how to say, it does not really stick with one thing. So the word Dharma is not stick with one meaning. So even in the Hindi, Indian language, Dhara means if someone holds you from head, so it's I hold him, so I Dhara, it's Dhara, they call Dhara. Because Dharma it has to give the positive meaning when you put together Ma, Dharma. So then it says, then finally, how do you know Dharma is positive? And you say, I swear it is positive. So other than that, there is no reason. Yeah, any other questions?
When you use that word "shu," I don't know if I'm clear on that. "Shu" that I'm used to means like cutting through or cutting away what's unnecessary or cutting to the point. I don't know if that's what you because the accents could be different in Tibetan. Is this what you're referring to or something else?
Yeah, Tibetan letters cha and cha. So two things. Cha and cha. Che means now this is cha, not the cha. Che is the cha, the che. Che and che, two sound, two different. Dharma we call che, and cutting we call che. So things that already cut is called che. Che means is the word that ordering, commanding you. They cut it. You have to cut it. And something already cut is called che. Che, che. Che is a cha. Cha, 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 the cha. 1, 2, 3, cha, cha, cha. The cha. And we don't say 1, 2, 3, cha, cha, cha. No, So cha and cha is two different. So there's, different sound. So che. So the word Dharma, so far there is no exact English word for that. In the Pali languages, so they use Dhamma. So R sound is missing. So Dhamma, So, so sometimes some people kind of try to distinguish Hindu, Buddhist from the Hindu. They says, we don't say Dharma. Dharma is Hindu. We say Dhamma. So it's the language. It's not Sanskrit language and the Pali language. It's not Buddhist and the Hindu. It's just a language. So yeah, I'll stop here. Stanza number 63. Any questions? Everyone asked. Yeah, you have any questions? Okay. Chanju simjo rinpoche, majeba na jeji, jeba nyamba, meba nya, konde konde pebra. Tonye tawa rinpoche, majeba na jeji, jeba nyamba, meba nya, konde konde pebra. Pama simjen tamje, deda denju, ngenro tamje tatu tonwa, chanju simba, kanda sushu, teta kunje, molam jubjo roche, kare re weko vishima, penda dewa maru jo, ne, jere sima, tinzi jazu, shabe sute bado denju roche.
May the precious body mind not yet born arise and grow. May the bone have no decline but increase forevermore. May the precious mind realizing emptiness not yet born arise and grow. May the bone have no decline but increase forevermore. Due to all these merits, may all father and mother sentient beings have all the happiness, and may all lower realms be empty forever. Wherever there are bodhisattvas, may all their prayers be accomplished immediately.
In the sacred
land surrounded by snow mountains, you are the source of all benefit and happiness. O powerful Trinity, Tensi-Gyatso, remain in this world until samsara ends.
Thank you much. Thank you.